Yes, guys, this is the instant reaction as we hit full time in the Bournemouth-Newcastle game. 1-1 is the final score, and Newcastle take home a point. Let me know your thoughts on the game down below. Not a great game. Not a great game. It was not a great watch for the neutral, I'm sure. It was not a great watch for Newcastle United fans, I'm sure. Possibly a slightly better watch for the Bournemouth fans, but generally speaking, we drew against West Ham in our last game where I thought we did okay, but we looked like we missed Bruno, we looked like we lacked creativity, we looked like we lacked cutting edge in front of goal. Going down to Bournemouth this evening against a team like fighting to stay in the Premier League against the Newcastle side who are riding a high, trying to get into top 4 European spots. We've got a final in 2 weeks' time. This was our chance to get out of what has been, quite a lot of draws recently. It's another one on the list to go down there, get back on course, get 3 points, get the confidence back. And it was the same issues. Lack of creativity. I felt like we had a lack of midfield. I think we had a lack of cutting edge in front of goal. And I do feel like this was a game where I really hoped to see us step up and show that the players can play without Bruno. From today's game, I think it's really pointed out how big Bruno is for our side. And this is what's crazy, because I feel like we are playing as a side who looks like we are lacking confidence, which is mad, because 5 minutes ago we're, firing into the final of the Carabao Cup and everyone's going mad. Eddie Howe said that last week was a big week. It was a game where we got through to the final. Then off the back of that, he's having to lift everyone for the West Ham game. Eddie Howe spoke in his press conference saying that it was an emotional week and it was his job to now get the guys firing again. And we came out and first 30 minutes, I think we had 82% possession of the ball. But we didn't do anything with it. We mostly kicked the ball out. So I was quite surprised that we did have such a high possession. But fair play to Bournemouth. They've picked up a good point. Arguably, off the first half, definitely, you could have said, maybe they could have deserved more, to be honest. We had a lot of it, but we weren't using it. And I think that goes back to what I said about missing Bruno. Somebody to pick the ball up, somebody to grab it by the scruff of the neck and go, come on, I'll make this work today. I thought Longstaff battled hard. Joe Linton battles hard. But, those two aren't the creative players. Willock went off injured. We brought Gordon on. I thought it looked all right, but it's a change of formation, of position. I felt like it could be the answer to try to get back in this game, get another more attacking player on. But just things weren't just clicking. There was a couple of players in there. I think Dan Burn didn't have the greatest game today, and with Targett still out injured, if players aren't playing well and there's no one to bring in for them, it's tough because you're just having to play them through a tough game. I thought Isak, I hoped for more. Him and Maxi, when they came on as subs a couple of games ago and totally lit it up. And I thought, today we've gone with Isak up front. We've gone with Maxi. Yes, Wilson was unable to feature due to a potential injury. I think it's precautionary is why Wilson didn't play. I wouldn't have minded Wilson because he was playing his old club and I think he would have had a real push to try and score. But still, £60 million Isak's on the pitch. Let's get him in there. Let's get him with Maxi. Let's try and get something going here. I thought he had a poor game. In fairness to Maxi, he was actually one of the big reasons we got our goal. I'll go back to their goal first. Disappointing, considering we are a side that are full of 6-foot-tall players, and to concede from a corner in the fashion that we did was poor. And it just goes back to me saying it was just a little bit. Yeah, I say lack confidence, or is it just we just looked a bit sloppy. It just didn't look like Eddie Howe's sides, it didn't. And that's the thing, I'm not coming in here ranting and raving. I could if I wanted to, but at the end of the day, we're in a process right now. We're not going to win every game. We've only lost one game in the Premier League this season, so it's a draw. It's another draw. But ultimately, if you told me we would have lost one game in the Premier League by now and would be in a final, I would rip both your arms and your legs off. But you can still come on and say that isn't the side we have been playing like for this season. And is it because players turn around and go, "Oh, Bruno's not here. Who's gonna win us this game?" So it's one of them. It was disappointing. Yeah, the goal comes in. Dan Burn, 6'12", 6'7", 6'8", whatever he is. Ball comes in, doesn't even look over his shoulder. He runs to the ball, doesn't get the header. Trippier's running away from his man. Isak leaves the man at the back stick. The flick-on's too easy, and he scores in an easy open goal. Pope's got no chance. And at that point, we had all the ball, but they still looked more threatening than we did. Very poor. We get a goal back. Almiron with a great finish. It was great to see Almiron hit it first time. He could have had a touch, looked left and right and whatever, but he didn't. He got it, hit it first time. It's actually Maxi who has some great work to keep the ball in, so it was noticed. Well done, Maxi. Sean Longstaff breaking into the box with a great shot on target that won me a few quid because I had a Longstaff shot on target. And then Almiron puts it in a great time, just before the end of the first half. And we're going in at the half-time. Eddie Howe back at Bournemouth. I think Eddie Howe's a very cool, calm, collected guy. You've got to think he's in there at half-time, ranting and raving and sticking a rocket up a few bums in there because, honestly, we needed to come out second half and go. We needed to go. And we didn't. I was shocked that we didn't come out and I think it was, Kieran Dyer and Graham Souness on the panel. All they needed next was Michael Owen and we would have had the hat-trick of ex-Newcastle who hate Newcastle, and then the guys on the commentary hated us as well. So if you didn't have the commentary on, you made a good choice. But yeah, it was... The thing for me is we're going into a Liverpool game next up and we need to be better than that. We're playing, Bournemouth, bottom of the table, side struggling to stay in the league right now. We're a team who are flying high. And that wasn't us today. Is it because without Bruno we just miss him? Is it because the guys are still having a bit of a mental, emotional hangover after what was such a big final week? But we've got to get it in gear quick. We're at Wembley in 2 weeks. Thank God Bruno will be back for Wembley. But yeah, Liverpool up next. It's at home. I think the home atmosphere at St James's Park will help. Liverpool are a side who aren't in gear right now. You've got to hope we'll get up for it and we can get a win before Wembley. Because I thought today was the chance. I know away from home against the Bournemouth side who looked set up in a way that worked for them. They set up 2 banks of 4 and they countered as a 4. They did their homework. Even at home, where you would expect them to come out and play, they knew what the job was. And they did it. I think it's a good point for them. Away from home for Newcastle, it's a point. But it was still one that I hope we could have done more in. But after the way we played, I think a point's what we take. So let me know your thoughts on the game down below. What do we need to change and quick before going into Liverpool? And if the answers bring Bruno back, we can't until the final. So let me know your thoughts down below. Are you happy with the point? What do you think of the game? Was it our worst performance of the season? And that sounds dramatic, but it's just because we've been so good this season that it didn't feel like us. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening and your weekend. And I'll catch you later.